Learn English with Little Red Riding Hood. Part 3, narrated in English only. Once upon a time, there was an adorable little girl who was loved by everyone who knew her, but most of all, by her grandmother. And she would have done anything for the girl. One day, her grandmother made her a red cape with a hood that suited her so well that she never wanted to wear anything else. And that's why everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. One day, her mother said to her,
"Come, Little Red Riding Hood. Grandma is sick and weak. Take her this basket. There is a bottle of wine and a cake inside. But remember, go straight to your grandmother's house. And don't talk to strangers on the way. Be very careful when you go into the forest. And when you go into her bedroom, don't forget to say, 'Good morning.'"
"Don't worry, I will do everything right," said Little Red Riding Hood. Grandma lived far off, in the heart of the forest. When Little Red Riding Hood reached the forest, the wolf came out to meet her, and said,
"Good morning. Where are you going so early, Little Red Riding Hood?"
The wolf seemed friendly. "Hello," she said. "I am going to my grandmother's house, and I am in a hurry."
"And what are you carrying in your basket?"
"Cake and wine. Yesterday was baking day. So my poor sick grandmother is going to have something good to make her stronger."
"Where does your grandmother live?"
"Her house is under the 3 large oak trees." The wolf thought to himself,
"What a tender and young creature. What a nice mouthful, and she will be tastier than that old woman. If I hurry, I'll eat very well today."
The wolf wanted to get to grandmother's house before Little Red Riding Hood. So, he walked for a little while with Little Red Riding Hood, and then said to her,
"Look at all these beautiful flowers growing in the forest. Why don't you pick some for your grandmother?"
Little Red Riding Hood raised her eyes. And when she saw the sunbeams dancing here and there, between the trees, she thought, "I suppose I could take some of these fresh flowers to my grandmother." "Good idea," said Little Red Riding Hood. Meanwhile, the wolf ran straight to the grandmother's house, and knocked on the door. "Who's there?" asked the grandmother, from the bed.
"It's me, Grandma,"
answered the wolf, imitating the voice of Little Red Riding Hood.
"Open the door, please."
"Push the door, it is not locked," called out the grandmother. "I'm very weak, and I can't get up." The wolf opened the door. And without saying a word, he went straight to the grandmother's bed and ate her up in one bite. And then, he put on her clothes, got into her bed, and drew the curtains. A little while later, Little Red Riding Hood, holding a beautiful bouquet of flowers, arrived at the little house, beneath the 3 oaks. She was surprised to find the door open, and she went into the bedroom. Her grandmother looked very strange. She called out, "Good morning." But there was no answer. "Oh, Grandma, what big ears you have!" she said.
"The better to hear you with, my darling,"
was the reply. "But, Grandma, what big eyes you have!" she said.
"The better to see you with, my dear little granddaughter."
"Grandma, what big arms you have!"
"The better to hug you with,"
said the wolf. "And what a big nose you have!"
"The better to smell you with."
"Grandma, what a big mouth you have!" said Little Red Riding Hood, very frightened.
"The better to eat you with."
The wolf jumped out of the bed, and swallowed up Little Red Riding Hood, too. Then the wolf decided to take a nap. He lay down in the bed, and began to snore. A hunter was alerted by snoring, and approached the house. And he thought,
"How the old woman is snoring. I'll see if she needs any help."
So he went into the bedroom, and when he approached the bed, he saw the wolf lying there.
"So here I find you, you old sinner,"
he said.
"I have been looking for you, a long time."
And he was just about to fire his weapon at him, when it occurred to him that the wolf might have devoured the old woman, and that she still might be rescued. He took a pair of scissors, and began to cut open the belly of the sleeping wolf. When he had made 2 snips, he saw a red cap shining. And then, he made 2 snips more, and the little girl sprang out, crying. "I was so frightened! How dark it was, inside the wolf!" And then, the grandmother came out as well, alive, but hardly able to breathe. Little Red Riding Hood fetched many stones, with which they filled the wolf's belly. And then, they sewed it up. When the wolf woke up, wanted to run, and go away. But the stones were so heavy, that he immediately fell down dead. The hunter drew off the wolf's skin, and took it home. The grandma ate the cake, and drank the wine, and revived. Little Red Riding Hood told her grandmother what had happened. "I went off the path to pick you some flowers. I think you learned your lesson said her grandmother.
I am just glad we are both safe.
And ever since that day, Little Red Riding Hood always remembers her mother's advice, and never strays from the path, or stops to talk to anyone. When she goes to visit her grandmother,